Hi, my name is Mark Brunton. I'm the Operations Section Chief for CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 3 on the Dixie incident. Just start off first and describe on how we've designed our organizational structure for the incident. We have just transitioned with CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 1 to continue on the suppression efforts on the Dixie incident. So the incident is very large, has numerous jurisdictions that it's affecting, and we are in a unified command with a number of entities. We have the fire broken into two zones. The west zone is the responsibility of CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 3. The east zone is Interagency Incident Management Team 4. And we have a zone break that goes along this line. So this is the CAL FIRE side, the Interagency Incident Management Team 4 side. We've taken the CAL FIRE side and broken it into three operational sectors. We have the Butte Sector, we have the Lassen Sector, and we have the Westwood Sector. Each one of those has a Deputy Operations Section Chief that is responsible for that, and underneath that, there's some branches, divisions, and groups within that, and that helps us with our command and control of the resources that fall within those geographical areas. Starting off down at the bottom is the Butte Sector, and that is from the basic origin of the fire, moving through most of all of Butte County and into a portion of Tehama County as well. It's looking really good on the bottom part here in Branch 1 and into Branch 5. Branch 1 predominantly is in what we call a patrol status, so full extinguishment, just making sure that there are no other further hot spots or anything like that. That's looking really good. Moving into our Branch 5 and up this way of the fire, again, we are an aggressive mop-up in that area. It's continually looking better, and we are looking at moving more into a patrol status in the next day or so, and that's very good news there. The only challenge we have is up where we move from the Butte sector, moving into the Westwood sector is, in the Lassen sector, is what we call Division Juliet, and that's almost near the Tehama County line. One little bit, we believe today we should have a lot of success in butting that up. Once that's done, heavy aggressive mop up, and that will really give us a good place that we can stop any movement of the fire in this direction into Tehama County. So that's very important to us to get that established, and it gives us what we call an anchor point, a nice good place to work from, working back around the horn of the fire. So as we move up into the Lassen branch of the fire, it goes into the Lassen National Park. That is within that sector. So we are working with our counterparts with the National Park, and they are making plans and doing efforts there for the suppression of the fire within the park. Moving into outside of the park boundaries and just above Highway 36 is, again, that Lassen sector, and that's where we have a great movement of fire in that direction, and we are expecting with the weather today a significant push the fire in that direction. So we are putting resources in play in that part of the fire to try to reduce any spread of the fire to the east and to the west, as well as any structure protection in that area. There are a number of scattered cabins in that Division Romeo part of the sector. As we move down into the Westwood sector, we start moving into a variety of communities already affected. Community of Chester, Greenville, that we saw the fire took a number of homes, in fact, most of the community there. So we are, whatever homes are left there, we are doing aggressive mop-up and patrol so that there's no other further loss, no further flare-ups of fire. So that we have a lot of resources in there to protect those structures that have been saved. And then with the potential push of the fire today, we do have a possibility that it could affect down into the peninsula, back into Westwood and along the east part of the lake. So we have a lot of resources in play there, doing point protection, putting in control lines and contingency lines so that we can provide the most amount of protection we can with the resources we have at hand to protect those communities and those structures on that east side of the lake. We have the zone, like I mentioned before, and we're working with our counterparts with Incident Management Team 4 to have line put in to keep any spread from the east to the west into those communities as well. And we are also working in areas that have sensitive not only habitats but also cultural resources in that area to protect those as well. From not only the fire, but any sort of damage to those from any of our suppression efforts. The last part of the fire that, like you said, that's moving in this easterly direction along the 821, we are seeing a lot of activity picking up as the weather has changed, and we are starting to put resources in play there to try to mitigate any further fire spread. As folks are familiar with, the past almost 4 weeks, we've seen some tremendous growth of fire. In one day, it ran almost 100,000 acres, unprecedented fire behavior. But this is all due to unprecedented conditions that we see with the fuels that are out there. Everything is extremely dry. We're very well aware that due to the drought and the conditions, that it does not take much for the fire to spread. So it doesn't take much wind. And in fact, we've even seen some of the fire activity increase just because it's in heavy pockets of the vegetation. A good analogy that's been brought forward is the trees and such that are out there, that are the live trees that are out there now, have a lower fuel moisture than you would find when you go to a hardware store or to a lumber yard and get that piece of lumber that's kiln dried. That has more moisture in it than we're seeing in the actual live vegetation out there. So hopefully that's an analogy that brings to mind, or you can anticipate what that's going to do. It's that dry, so it doesn't take much for any sort of embers, sparks, or a small flaming front to get that going. So that's something we're dealing with. We're doing everything we can based on the resource limitation we have. This is an extremely large fire, a lot of ground to cover. So what we've done is we're prioritizing based on life, property, and that is where we're taking our resources, putting them into play, making sure we can suppress those and protect those assets, and then move on to the next instead of trying to take everything at once. So it's eating the elephant one bite at a time, if you will. I think we're going to have a lot of success with that. The one other challenge we have, that one toy in the toy box that we cannot really utilize, is the aircraft because of the smoke conditions. That is a concern for us. And any clean air that we can find that isn't smoked out, that the aircraft can effectively, efficiently, and safely fly in, we are going to be flying aircraft. But with the conditions that they are, right now we're very limited as to where and when we can use those aircraft. However, like I said, when we have those opportunities, we will be utilizing that asset to its greatest abilities. So hopefully I've given you a good overview of what we're facing as of today, and what we're anticipating with the expected weather and with the resources we have on hand. And I believe that we are starting to put together a really good plan moving forward to try to mitigate any sort of more damage to communities and any life and property, and try to start wrangling this huge monster of a fire in the coming weeks. Thank you.